Hello and welcome to In Transit. The vibrant Gujarat Summit ended recently. A 50-strong delegation of the Canadian Indian business diaspora participated, with Dr. V.I. Lucky Lakshmanan as co-leader of the delegation. He's my guest today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having us here.
Right. Now, you are an internationally renowned scientist and entrepreneur in the area of technology commercialization. Now, what does that entail?
Technology commercialization involves the process of taking the concept from the laboratory, from the concept to the marketplace. That involves engineering, construction, commissioning, creating finance. So it is more like beta testing, piloting, and bringing it to the market. So realizing the value of the technology in the marketplace.
So you moved to Canada in 1974. Does that mean that you completed your education in India and then left?
So Hela, I'm very proud to say I'm one of the early Indian who got all his education in this great country of India, Bharat Mata.
Right.
And I got my PhD from the University of Bombay, left India in 1969, early 69, went to teach at Birmingham University, minerals engineering. One of the very first with a degree from India, went to teach in England in 1969. I was there for nearly about 6 years before I went to Canada.
In the 70s, a decade when the first immigrants in the latter part of the 20th century left for Canada from India, they're generally referred to as the first generation of the diaspora.
You are absolutely right.
In the 70s.
Absolutely right, Sohala. And that was an experience by itself. It was a small community
Yes.
which was trying to work hard to buy their groceries. At the same time, culturally getting themselves, it is a family. All those who went early days, there was a small group of people. For us, that was the family. Culturally, emotionally comforting to each other. So one end, you are trying to settle down. The other end, you are trying to establish yourself culturally.
So what is the image of the Indian diaspora in Canada today if you compare it to when you moved there 40 years ago, more than 40 years ago, and now?
So Hela, I feel very proud. During the early years, we used to look for news about India. And it will all be some slums in India or some challenges. But today we feel proud the whole thing got transformed with the Y2K, with the immigrants coming from India to invest in Canada. Early years, it was always going from Western world to India. Today, we feel so proud, Sohela. I have been living abroad for nearly 45 years. I feel very proud that I've seen this journey of our Indians settling down, they becoming entrepreneurs, reinvesting back. The fact that we brought these 50 people from Canada who want to invest in India is a reflection how the community has grown up.
What is known about the Indo-Canadian diaspora is that it's frozen in time, that the first Indo-Canadians who migrated in the 70s, as we discussed it, are culturally frozen in time, whereas people in India have moved ahead. So what is your thought on that?
You are absolutely right, Sohala, because me and my wife, when we come to India, during those years, we used to come once in 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. Now I come to India 3 times or 4 times a year. So during those years, we families who migrated themselves, that was our family. We got, even those days, making a phone call to India, my home did not have a phone. My mother used to go to from Parel to Matunga, travel 5 miles to one of my friend's house to receive a call from me. So only letters were there. Today you got Skype and everything. So you're continuously connected. During early years, we are completely disjointed. So when we come to India, the image we carried was what we left behind. So India kept moving, but we were not fully aware of it. So compared to today, what you have, the electronic communication and all, where currently you are fully engaged. During those years, we were cut off. And only way to connect ourselves is the families that we had who came, fellow immigrants who came to Canada, and that was our family. So we were not fully aware of the development that were taking place. And at that time, there was no television channel from India coming to Canada. So we just remembered from print media. So we were fully disconnected with the progress that was happening. So what you are saying is absolutely right. Now we are fully engaged with India. During those years, it was only through letters and all we knew. Even telephone conversation was not taking place. And what you say is absolutely right.
But doesn't this create a problem for your children, for instance, this generation? The parents are very strict with them. You know, they have to contend with both Indian traditions and Canadian society.
You are absolutely right. So early years, when our own children, the community was small, all these arranged marriages were still, happening. But it was not that easy. So slowly, our own children start getting finding partners with the Canadian society, Canadian community, and we were involved in helping them adjust, and that was growing together, emotionally comforting. But now, of course, even in India, things are happening. So people are beginning to understand in an evolving society, we have to accept. So you become Canadian, but that is why cultural organization coming to give comfort to them. Now we are getting cultural musicians and everybody to come and perform there. So you are more connected. Early years that it's even asking our children to learn Bharatanatyam and Carnatic music was not that easy because they were always persuaded by their own colleagues, the friends and peers, to go into the mainstream. And there was always a challenge for parents to motivate the children to learn. But today it is the other way around. Bollywood is more popular, as much popular as Hollywood. So today the electronic media, people like yourselves are playing a major role.
Bollywood is also media and and especially Bollywood is a great unifying force.
Absolutely.
The world over, as far as the diaspora is
right
concerned.
On, right on.
Now, you are the co-founder and CEO of Process Research or Tech. What is its agenda?
Sohala, Process Research Tech used to be Ontario Research Foundation, which primarily was involved in developing technologies to improve the competitiveness of Ontario-based industries, established in 1928 by Government of Canada and exporters and manufacturers of Ontario. Since then, it grew up to serve the jurisdiction around the world and developing technologies for companies, whether it is the environment, whether it is automotive, transportation, whether it is materials, whether it is engineering. So it was a technology development organization. In 1999, it was privatized by the Premier of Ontario. They said it was getting a grant of about 25% every year, but the government said we have no need to subsidize. So they said we will give funds to universities to develop technologies, not to an organization. So it got privatized in 1999. I used to be the director for environmental materials, put together a couple of people together. We bought part of the old Ontario Research Foundation, and Process Research Technology is primarily providing solutions to process industries, developing clean technologies and developing serving energy sector, serving chemical industries, environmental sectors, primarily providing efficiency and environment for sustainable development. That's what we do.
Right. Right. Now, you are the founder and chair of the Canada-India Foundation. And what is its field of work and activity?
So, Holly, earlier years, we had institutions which are focusing more on trade and commerce. But there was a gap, and both, eminent people from India as well as in Canada, we as immigrants, in many a time, we focus on commerce, but fail to get ourselves assimilated in the mainstream activities. So in policy, if we want certain things to be done through the government agencies, we have to let them know what our needs are in the policy issue, whether it's immigration, whether it is certain cultural issues. Even when parents died, taking the ashes to immerse, that was a challenge. You can't be and we went through that, and now we work with politicians. But you need politicians who understand Indian values and all that. So for that to happen, you have to work with them in the policy issue. We have to do the advocacy. In many places, whether US or anywhere else, the Indian community is slowly becoming the advocacy group also. Sensitize the politicians, the needs of our community. We have our own rich heritage, and we want to be proud of that. And we don't want to do anything hiding. We want them, if the ashes are there, we want to take them and do it the way we do, take our priests, Rithviks with us and go and do it. And for that to happen, we have to mobilize, sensitize the politicians. So Canada India Foundation is an advocacy group. It is working on the public policy. And so it is not working on commerce alone, but going one level up. And that is why it was formed.
Right. How significant is its contribution to Indo-Canadian relations?
It has, I must say this very, very carefully, and also I'm very proud that I'm a founding member. And we have worked very hard, Sohala. We brought former President Kalam to Canada. We arranged meetings for eminent people like him to our Prime Minister Stephen Harper. We were one of the very first, Sohala, we are very proud to say that some of us were part of it, initiating discussion on civil nuclear. And these are issues. Canada is God's country, I always say, rich with resources, only 35 million people. India is a dynamic country, 5,000 years tradition and values. And with an economy growing at 7 or 8% for 1.25 billion, enormous opportunity. Today the world is a marketplace. But if Canada has to find a market to India, we have to find strategic areas where we find the opportunities. Energy is a major area. We worked very hard on that. And we worked on some of the other areas, arranging the forums and all that. So we worked on the civil nuclear. We work on smart waterways. Water is a major source of a major area of opportunity. Canada with 4,000 miles ocean to ocean, she has done a phenomenal job on infrastructure, connecting the rivers and lakes and everything else. That experience we can bring to India. In India now, our Prime Minister Ji is talking about some of these areas of opportunity, Ganges cleanup and all. Canada has wealth of experience to come and participate. So we played a role on civil nuclear, Canada India Foundation. We form our forums on agriculture and infrastructure. Now we are going to be doing some few other things together.
Well, we'll be back to this interesting information after this very short break.
Thank you.
Like I said, we're going in for a break. Stay with us. Welcome back to In Transit and a chat with Mr. V.I. Lakshmanan, Chair of the Canada India Foundation and an important member of the Indo-Canadian diaspora, who's just returned from the vibrant Gujarat summit. Okay, now what are the various fora that the CIF has organized so far?
I must say this proudly, Sohala. Canada is a country of 4,000 miles coast to coast, with a population of 35 million, with a standard of living which is envy of the world.
Yes.
And my Matrubhumi, India, with 5,000 years tradition, today she is like a bride. The whole world is coming to engage dancing in this floor of India. And here, India with its economy growing at 7 to 8%, she needs resources from elsewhere to support the growth of this economy. Call it energy, India imports nearly 60 to 70% from elsewhere. Materials, strategic materials, whether aerospace or electronic, she has to import from elsewhere, whether it's nickel or gallium or whatever it is. And Canada is a country rich with resources and agriculture, mineral, energy, whether it is fossil, whether it's nuclear, whether it's hydel, she has everything. So we in our forum take topics which are uniquely qualified, because Canada is a middle power. She can't compare to the United States, she can't compare to the European Economic Union, but Canada has to find areas where she can opportunistically, strategically work with India. India with this growing economy with 1.25 billion people, she has her own needs, and we can strategically work together to enhance it. So we arrange forums on energy. India needs energy, Canada has all sorts of energy. It is not only having the raw material, but also rich experience of exploiting the resources to create wealth and jobs. And our experience and people with the experience, along with exporting materials to India, is a unique opportunity. So we did on energy, we did on mining. When we did on energy, we had Dr. Montek Singh Ahluwalia, Kirit Parekh, Paddy Padmanabhan from Tata's, many people who came. We connected them with senior people from Cameco, Jerry Grandi, Duncan Hawthorne, Bruce. So they in a table sat together and discussed how we can work together. Similarly, we did next one on mining. We took former President Kalam, we took people from NMDC, we took people from Tata's, brought them in connection with contact with Sherritt, Inco, and Extrata. So they talked and went on to discuss about opportunities. Then we did on agriculture. We had Soumitra Chatterjee from Planning Commission came, connected them with, Canada is very good on, she's a food ball for the whole world. And whether it's wheat or food processing, food growing, we connected them we did in Vancouver and connected Indian delegation with food processing industry, logistic, transportation, and also in Saskatchewan we did a session where the wheat board, they came to talk to our people. So at the end of the day, it's people to people connection we did, and they take it and do what they like. After that, we did infrastructure, Canada with the 4,000 miles with the good roadways and electronically communicated. We took people from India and a discussion, and we have few things in mind to do in future. So this gives people to people opportunities to discuss and bring the experience, share the experience, how we can work together to create wealth and create jobs, and also make sure we discuss the policy issues, level playing field, how both governments, whether you're talking about CEPA, whether you're talking whatever it is. So together when people meet, they become, because civil society has a role to play, and that is what we try to do. We can't leave it to private sector and public sector, but civil society has to take the responsibility and play a role, and that's what we do with the Canada India Foundation.
Well, the CIF has hosted VIPs like the Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, former Indian President Abdul Kalam, and Mr. Narayana Murthy of Infosys too. It also brought a 50-strong delegation to Vibrant Gujarat, as I mentioned earlier, led by your Citizenship and Immigration Minister as well as other cabinet ministers, which includes the first ever woman minister of Indian origin.
Absolutely.
Congratulations for that. And several parliamentarians. Obviously, the CIF in Canada has business clout. Would you like to comment on that?
Absolutely. Many Indian people like Prem Watsa, who is a champion, an IIT graduate, he's well respected like Warren Buffett. He runs an investment banking company in Canada, and he helped BlackBerry when it was going through some challenges, and he helped that too. Similarly, Ray Sahi, he has got a Margar company. He's a multi-billionaire, many things that he does. And Indian company, late Vasu Chanchalani, he supported small and medium-sized companies to grow. Many of us together, the Canada India Foundation is formed by very senior people with a commitment to Canada, but who contributed financially and also created new jobs, new companies, small and medium-sized companies. Not alone they created jobs and wealth, Sohala, but they also philanthropically contributed to universities, or whether it's University of Waterloo or McMaster, University of Toronto, and hospitals. So just the way Jewish community progress in Canada, the Indian community is doing the same thing, creating jobs and wealth, but it is getting to the next level, not only building temples and gurudwaras, but now we are getting into hospitals and education philanthropically, so that we become part of the mainstream community. So I feel very proud. Deepika Damerla, when she took oath in the parliament, she took on Gita. She is the first Canadian of Indian origin woman, a Hindu woman, to get elected to any legislature in Canada and taking oath on Gita. And someone like myself living there for nearly 50 years, we feel very proud how we have become part of the mainstream.
Right. So what are the issues that were taken up by the CIF at the Vibrant Gujarat conclave?
We have talked about healthcare system, what can we be sharing between Canada and India, clean technology. We talked about some of our members. They signed MOUs. The one guy who came along with us, one Sridhar, he signed an MOU with a company here on medical medical products.
I see.
So we discussed on hospitals, we discussed on medical products, we discussed on clean technologies. So this somebody who came from Canada, who has a company in India, he talked about micronutrients for agriculture sector. So this gave us a platform for members who came to sign MOUs, get to know people. Somebody who is involved in engineering services from Calgary got to meet people here, and he is forming partnership. So Vibrant Gujarat, we were very, very impressed the way it was organized. Modi ji is an amazing champion, great leader, and we were very impressed with the Mahatma Gandhi Nagar, what they have done with the infrastructure that they have built, and gave a platform for many of us to meet people with 5,000 there. And we are very proud carrying the experience back to Canada. We will relate it to our fellow members in Canada.
Right. So what are the hopes that Indo-Canadians have from Mr. Modi?
He's an amazing champion. We are very impressed. We are very passionately looking for leaders who can inspire, to mobilize the people. And we feel, there are a lot of opportunities, but the opportunities to be realized, the dreams to be felt, you need leaders who can mobilize, inspire people. And we feel Canada, with 1.2 million Indians, we keep talking to fellow Canadians how great India is. When we see a leader like Modi coming, we feel very proud we can do business. And we can realize the dreams, and we can increase the trade. We want to increase the trade from $5 billion to $15 billion. That's what the previous Prime Minister and Stephen Harper, our Prime Minister, have said. We feel Prime Minister Modi, who has come now, can take us not only 15 billion, maybe he'll take us to 50 billion, because he has a clear vision, he is a doer, and we see what he has done in Gujarat, and that will be opportunity for whole India. So India's population, the demography with 50% less than 35, to give them opportunity, creating jobs and wealth, and also the poorer section of the community, give them hope, for them to realize the hope. Modi ji may be a right person.
Right. What do you think of his initiative to allow NRIs to vote, and from their countries?
We feel
vote in the Indian elections.
We feel I must say this so very, very, very candidly. We'll feel very proud to participate in the initiative. What Modi ji, I carry OCI, which I feel very proud. That I have my Bharat Mata. I'm the son of Bharat Mata.
Are you happy that he's merged OCI with PIO?
It probably is, why carry too many sections? Everybody feels the same. And in terms of having the dual citizenship, I agree, many countries have it. Israel has got it, United States has got it, many countries. And we must make sure each country, we have the dual citizenship, but also we must make sure we carry the responsibilities correctly and properly. It's very, very important, because the dual citizenship is a card, and the guy who carries the dual citizenship, he has to make sure that he carries his responsibility absolutely correctly.
Yes, but Mr. Lakshmanan, the dual citizenship law hasn't come into being as yet.
Yes, yes.
So is that what Indo-Canadians are hoping for?
We would love to have it participate
This may be
in the
a step. The merging of PIO and the OCI card is a step in that direction, but it's not a complete step yet.
Yes, yes.
So what are your views on that?
I think so I must say this with the candidness, that is, dual citizenship is a good concept, but it has to be done carefully, because the security of the nation is very, very important. We must make sure that that has got the proper qualifiers, making sure that that is appropriately enforced.
Yes. Well, the Congress almost brought it in, but they couldn't enact it.
Yes.
So do you think the NDA will manage to do that? Will they have that kind of consensus?
With Modi ji, currently in the Lok Sabha he may be able to. Rajya Sabha, I'm a Canadian, so I prefer not to get into that.
Yes.
But you feel the ownership of having the dual citizen. Other countries have done it. Israel has done it, and United States, there are people having, and this can be done. If other countries can do, India can do it.
Right.
And Canada doesn't stop, because in Canada also we got many people who carry dual citizenship. So it is doable, but also I must.
India has to look at its own concerns. Security concerns.
Security concerns, I just would say that.
Right. Well, I believe you're organizing a healthcare forum. Who are the people who'd be invited there, and what do you hope to achieve with it?
To us, Canada India Foundation, we feel very proud, Suhala. We did the 4 earlier forums in the space of economic activities. This one we are doing in the space of civil society's needs. Healthcare and education are the most important thing. We feel there's a lot of opportunity for both countries. The healthcare has moved from hospitals to an industry now. Can we share our experience? Canada is the envy of the world, universal care. Everybody, whether you are a poor guy or rich guy, the quality of care is the same. The quality of life is the same whether you are a poor guy or rich guy. So we can share the experience of Canada with India, with the 1.25 billion people. Our Prime Minister Ji wants the similar quality care to every citizen of India, and we feel a country of 35 million people, we can share our experience. And also, what is very important, India is a powerhouse of information technology, ICT, and she has done a very good job on the pharma area also. And Canada imports a lot of generic drugs. And then India has got experience on healthcare and health tourism. She has got experience on alternate medicine, and also Canada has got, in the majority of the population, the demography is aging. India has 50% under the age of 35, but soon she will have aging population. So our experience in terms of geriatric care, in terms of rehab, we can share the experience with India. That may be a big opportunity. So we are looking, nearly 32% of the GDP is spent on healthcare in Canada in many provinces. We are finding way to make it efficient, distant care, and bringing all this ICT to give e-health care, for example. So these are all newer areas of opportunity, and Canada and India can work together and find way to provide this service efficiently to the community. But in the global village today, every citizen wants to enjoy the same quality of life, whether you live in Canada or India.
Very true.
And if we can participate, bring in people from whether it's Apollo Hospital, bring in people from Manipal Hospital, or champions, social policy developers in India, and also people from Sipla or Piramal or Gujarat, which is nearly 40% of the pharma manufactured there. So if we can bring in drugs at a much cheaper cost for helping, generic drugs, Canada imports nearly 70% of generic drugs from India.
Right.
So there's a major opportunity in terms of service providers, in terms of pharma, in terms of sharing the experience. We in Canada, from our universal healthcare, that what you enjoyed many years, we can bring it to India. With technology, Rehab Foundation, for example, we can bring it to India. And we're also going to focus in this diseases prevalent for South Asians, diabetes, stroke, heart attack. And if we can bring new drugs, for example, in Canada, that can be helpful. Indian South Asians have
absolutely.
That's opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, and wish you all the best in your objectives. Thank you for joining me in the studio.
Thank you very much for having us. God bless.
Not at all. Well, that's all in this episode, folks, and we will return next week same time with yet another achiever transiting through the capital. Till then, goodbye.